Okay, hi there, everybody. It's David and Sue again. We're talking relationships, and we're here to just chat, share ideas, discuss this and that, and see where it takes us.
Cool, yeah. And I think this week we were thinking about the idea of perceiving a relationship as though it's a transaction, as though you do something for me and I do something for you, and it's kind of a zero sum game in which if I win, you have to lose, and vice versa.
Yeah, I think that a lot of couples do that, um, and a lot of it times is that we want to have love and be loved and so forth. And if I do something for you, then you're going to have to love me. And that happened, I think, with my own mother. She almost did the same thing, but it was almost a bit of emotional blackmail about, well, if I bought you this and this and this, so you have to do this and this and this.
Mm.
And it ended up being, I resented her a bit. It made me want to leave home a lot earlier and kind of get out of the relationship a bit.
Yeah. I think that's not obviously how love works. It doesn't really work by being bought. But I think actually maybe a healthier way to think about it is, particularly in a marriage or a relationship, is the two of you against the world. So rather than me versus you, and we keep the books, and things get added to each side, and we balance it up and make sure that it's always balanced. There's plenty out there in the world. There's resources, there's energy, there's time, there's money, etc. So if we're both working together and collaborating and bringing that in together, and if I win, we both win, and if you win, we both win, that just seems to work better somehow.
I think it would. And in terms of, I think there'd be less frustration, less anger on each part, because if I expect something, because I've done something for you and I expect something, and it doesn't happen, then I'm going to get angry. You're going to get frustration, wanting to know what the heck have I done, and it ends up being quite toxic.
Yeah. Well, it sort of works, I think, with kids as well, in that you don't go, you need to do these chores because I've done this for you, I'm paying for your blah 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 blah. But it's no, in this family we're all working together. This house needs to get cleaned, and the bin needs to get taken out, and whatever. And we all have our roles and chores, and we all kind of do it because of this commonwealth, this shared reality, rather than because negotiations and deals.
And we all have different strengths in that in our situation. I'm a better cook than you, but you will still cook at times, but most of it's mine because we get much nicer food. You sort of do other things of
fixing the computers.
Fixing the computers.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah. So that's your role. And if you play to your strengths, I think then it doesn't become a win-lose, or I do more than you do, or you do more or less, or this as you said, balancing act.
Yeah.
Then you end up being in a more harmonious relationship because of
it's a thing to also of a kind of being more accountable to yourself and to your partner. So I know that in general men tend to do less than their share of chores around the home. So I try to be aware of that, but it also balances around who's got the time, who's doing the work, who's doing a whole variety of things. But again, it's ideally me checking myself rather than Susie checking me, or vice versa. I think the other thing that's quite corrosive in relationships is deals around sex. I did this for you, so you should sleep with me, or whatever that happens to be. Again, like it's probably the least sexy thing in the world is to be called to account in that way.
Because when you are emotionally connected in that arena of the bedroom, it shouldn't be, well, I've done this, so
put out kind of thing. Yeah.
And then it becomes not sexy, and it becomes a duty that you sort of sit
chore
there and
among the other chores.
and sit there and lie back and think of England. And that's not what you want either in terms of that. So there's a whole.
But so I mean, I think there's probably a whole other conversation that we'll have at some point about different levels of desire, because every relationship has different levels of desire and how you manage that in a relationship. But that's probably enough about transactions. So being on the same team rather than keeping accounts between the two of you, really healthy.
We'll see you next time. Cheers.